CEOs in corporate America focus enough on product improvement? I think the answer is no. If you think about like war, it's like, do you want the general in some like ivory tower or on the front lines? Like, the troops are gonna fight a lot harder if they see the general on the front lines than if they think generals, in some cushy situation. So it's like nobody bleeds for the prince in the palace. Get out there on the goddamn front lines and show them that you care and that you're not just in some plush office somewhere.
Hey guys, I'm Austin, and this is Everyday Nerd. If you like those previously spicy clips from Mr. Musk's interview, then please go ahead and like and subscribe so that you can receive notifications for future videos I make. And let's go ahead and dive into the rest of the interview.
Let's talk a little more on innovation in corporate America in general. I mean, innovation has always been core to who you are. It's how you think about your companies and your role. In the corporate suite in America, are companies in general fostering and developing innovation? And as the leaders in corporate America, you've got a lot of them on this call. Do we prioritize innovation as much as we might or need to? Do you think right now?
Well, I think there's innovation, but then there's also just our CEOs in corporate America focus enough on product improvement? I think the answer is no.
Why is that? Is that because boards or shareholders are too finance and return focused and don't think enough about product as being at the heart of value? Is it because a certain kind of skill is cultivated? Why is that? Why is that a problem in the C-suite?
I think there might be too many MBAs running companies. There's the MBAization of America, which I think is maybe not that great. There should be more focus on the product, the service itself. Less time on board meetings, less time on financials. The financials come as a result. Like you say, like what's the point of a company at all? And why even have companies? It's like a company is an assembly of people gathered together to create a product or service and deliver that product or service. And sometimes people lose sight of that. A company has no value in and of itself. It only has value to the degree that it is an effective allocator of resources to create goods and services that are of greater value than the cost of the inputs. This thing we call profit is should just mean over time that the value of the output is worth more than the inputs.
All right, guys, I think Mr. Musk made some good points, and I just want to kick things off by saying that I personally find college degrees, bachelor's, master's, not exactly doctorates, but bachelor's and master's to be overhyped, oversold, and I also find them to be oversaturated within the marketplace right now. Everybody's got them. The overall value has decreased, much like when a government prints too much money and renders the value of their currency, to next to nothing. I feel like college degrees are, if not already there, rapidly approaching that point. I feel that they are not the end-all be-all that a lot of people say they are, and that instead, failure is the best teacher that anybody could ever learn from. Just look at all the most successful businessmen. Obviously, Elon Musk, which is a perfect example, as you'll see. Just he admits to it later in the video, but anybody successful has experienced failure and learned from it. They haven't let it beat them down. They've learned from it. And I also feel that a lot of companies have forgotten those lessons, and also they forgot what made them successful in the first place, which was their product, and they either take their product or their customers, or maybe even both, for granted. They begin to focus on providing as much value as possible to shareholders and investors rather than the customers. And the second customers get wind of that, or they feel as if they are no longer being provided the same level of value as you were previously providing them, they're going to vote with their wallets, and they're going to go to one of your competitors, and then you're going to lose all that beautiful, precious, sexy money that you were previously enjoying.
I would just urge people to say, like, hey, step back a second and say, is your product as awesome as it could be? Probably not. What could you do to make it great? And if you like think about innovation, like maybe it has to be like breakthrough innovation. I don't think it necessarily has to be breakthrough innovation. It's just like just make your product better. This is the thing that really matters.
All right, I'm starting to see a theme here. This interview is pretty much about common sense, or at least that's how it seems to me. But yeah, I think Mr. Musk is onto something. If you just focus on making your product as incredible as you possibly can, I think you'll be safe. And if you're just sitting around on the sidelines waiting for some kind of innovation to happen and make your idea possible, you're probably never going to amount to anything. Instead, you could just focus on working on your product. Maybe you'll be the person to facilitate that exact same innovation you might have otherwise been waiting for. Maybe you'll be the leader within your industry. And usually that's what it takes. It takes leaders, not followers, to forge new paths and to show people that there are better ways to do things.
Is that learnable? Is it teachable, or is there an innate element that somebody has to have to really to do it well? I mean, not everybody's innovating or thinking on your scale a lot, but you look for innovative people when you hire them. Is it something that is pretty easily learnable, or is there some innate quality in the people that succeed?
I think it is learnable. I mean, step number one would be try. And have you tried? And have you tried hard? And if you haven't tried hard, try hard. I think it is learnable.
Okay, I feel as if this is one of the weaker questions in the interview so far. I mean, I'm not sure if Matt himself is asking these questions or if somebody supplied this specific question or all of these questions to him, but it's almost like asking if somebody can learn how to run, walk, write, read, draw, perform mathematical calculations. I mean, that's all learnable. Good habits are just as learnable as bad habits. So yeah, people can be taught to mentally prioritize and focus on certain things, characteristics, take certain approaches to everything that they work on in life. And when Elon says to try harder after trying hard and failing, I can personally attest to this mindset in regards to making this my first ever YouTube video, because it has simultaneously been the most rewarding and stressful thing I have tried in recent memory.
On your own journey in this way, what are the biggest mistakes you've made that you've learned from? Because you talked a little bit about being willing to put yourself out there, fail, learn, keep growing. What were turning points for you that really you said, wait a minute, this is wrong, or this is the wrong move, either personally or for the company, and that you learned from, that have fed to where you are right now?
Well, if I had to list all the mistakes, this would be a very long call. So it's too many to even think of. I'm trying to think, like, how could I classify them in some way? Well, I mean, some of the things I mentioned just before, it's like where I was recommending that people spend less time in a conference room, less time getting presentations and spreadsheets, and that, like, generally that's like when I have spent too much time in a conference room, that's generally when things have gone awry. And when I go and spend time on the factory floor, or really using the cars, thinking about the rockets, it's like that's where things have gone better.
Okay, I feel that Mr. Musk made a fair point just now. Honestly, to keep this short and sweet, one of my previous employers, it always felt as if they loved to have meetings for the sake of meetings, and there were times when it felt as if we were spending more time in a conference room than actually addressing whatever issue had arisen and needed to be resolved as soon as possible. So I can definitely relate to that.
But does that risk? Some people would worry that risk sending a message to your teams that you personally have to be involved for something to work, that you can't delegate or you can't trust them. And I think that's one thing that makes some executives reluctant. They're trying to find that line between showing their personal commitment and trusting their subordinates to do the work.
All right, I just wanted to pause the video for a minute and explain why I think Matt's question is a little lame. It could have been replaced with a much better question, but I feel that the kind of employees that Tesla attracts and hires are the kind of people who aren't worried about having their boss working down the line with them. These are incredibly smart, capable, talented, and confident people. If anything, they're going to feel flattered and probably be incredibly happy to see their CEO, let alone their boss, working on the floor alongside them or getting down the weeds and sweating as much as they are. At the end of the day, they're all there to produce some phenomenal products, and they're also there to usher in some phenomenal change to society. And the only people who are up to the job are them. They're all unified under these same goals, and they're going to make it happen come hell or high water.
Is that a concern for you, or do you not care? That's not an issue for you. How do you think about it?
Well, there's a lot of talented people at SpaceX and Tesla, and I think the morale is good. I for sure respect them greatly, and it's an honor to work with them. And I find that if I am engrossed in the details of the issues, this does not result in them feeling better, but worse, but feeling better. Like they're in my experience, more energized. It's like, if you think about like war, it's like, do you want the general in some ivory tower or on the front lines? Like, the troops are gonna fight a lot harder if they see the general on the front lines than if they think generals, in some cushy situation. So it's like nobody bleeds for the prince in the palace. Get out there on the goddamn front lines and show them that you care and that you're not just in some plush office somewhere.
Yeah, see, Elon had the exact same or very similar response that I did, minus some of the spicier language, but we're all thinking it. As he was asking this question, we're all thinking the same damn thing, honestly. And yeah, his employees are incredibly self-confident, self-motivated, and driven people who are just focused on creating phenomenal products that will have phenomenal and long-lasting effects on this planet and our culture. And I feel as if a lot of people, the closer you get to the top in a company, a lot of those people tend to allow, whether or not they realize it, they tend to allow their fields of vision to narrow down to the confines of their offices and boardrooms, and they forget to look beyond that and see the bigger picture, or even to interact with the employees, customers, or products as a whole. It can be very debilitating, and has been the downfall of many companies and many just people as well. They forget what made them tick in the first place.
Yeah, I'm in my plush office right now, actually.
Yeah.
Fatality.
Let's talk quickly about Tesla. But both Tesla and SpaceX are scaling up. Today, in fact, Tesla touched $600 billion, I think, yesterday in valuation. Today, you said you're going to raise $5 billion through new stock sales. I assume what those gains are really, in your mind, going to do is help you scale up faster, be poured back into investment, because now is the moment to do that. Is that the plan here?
Yeah, I guess there's, we're kind of debating, like, should we raise money or should we not? It wasn't like a 100% sure thing. In the end, we thought, well, we can retire a lot of the debt and increase the security of the company, probably a good thing. And for less than 1% of dilutions, probably makes sense. But we're neither here nor there on that. I think could have gone either way.
So yeah, I I love Mr. Musk's response. It was basically him saying, well, we did it because, this is so hard. Screw it, why not? Which is a great position to be in as a company, especially in the middle of a pandemic, when you have thousands of companies having to assume more debt and liabilities just to increase their cash reserves. And then on the other hand, you have a company like Tesla who's able to just simply sell, a tenth of a percentage of their current shares to generate $5 billion and add it to their war chest. I mean, that's an amazing position for them to be in. They can use this money to either reinvest in the company, pay off liabilities like Mr. Musk suggested, or just honestly for anything that happens to pop up between now and the next time they raise additional capital. It's a great time to be at Tesla, even though it's not a great time to be a lot of other companies. All right, guys, if you're still watching here at the end of this video, thank you so much for watching it in the first place. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and I will be putting some more content out shortly.